Good morning. It's Adrian, and today is day 6 of the RPG A Day 2022. The question is, how would you get more people to play RPGs? So, I'm going to actually keep this very simple. With where I am right now, if someone wanted to play an RPG that's never played, I would invite them to my Facebook group, the Lee6113 Tabletop Role-Playing Game Guild, and the Discord. The Discord's actually more important because that's where we all hang out. Our community is very active. There's a lot of people who talk about D&D as kind of the primary, but also a lot of other systems. We're about to play an Alien game for the first time. We've got people interested in the Ubiquity system, which is one of my favorites. Of course, I'm a proponent of Mecha Hack. There's Pathfinder enthusiasts. We've got kind of all these different RPGs that people love to play. And the biggest thing if you're going to get into an RPG game is actually finding a community that's going to, you're going to gel with. And I think it's might be a little intimidating for someone, especially if you don't know the people yet, to jump in and try to play a campaign for the first time. I'm sure there's session zeros and stuff like that, but I think it's easier to join a Discord server where there's a chat channel. We've got a memes channel and just RPG discussion channel and just general hangout, and then getting into a game. Our group was built around the idea of doing one-shots, where if your schedule is really difficult to commit to every Thursday night you're playing a game, we have everybody who runs games will post whenever they have a free time to host a one-shot, and they're all connected into the same world. So if someone wants to get into D&D, they can make a character. We've got some guidelines on that. They just look for the next game that they're available to play in, and it's a one-shot, and you get to play for 3-4 hours and kind of meet some people. And whenever you're not gaming, you just hang out in the chat and talk RPGs and just random stuff, and you become part of the community. And once you're grounded with people that you're familiar with, playing games is fun, and it's less intimidating in my experience. So short answer, I would invite them to my group. Good morning. It's day 7 of the RPG A Day 2022, and I've been looking forward to this one because it's describe a cool part of a system that you like. And I actually got a whole bunch of RPGs out there all around, and I was thinking, which ones do I want to highlight, or which one? And I've narrowed it down to 3. And I'll try to be quick with it. But the first one, anyone who knows me knows I really like the Ubiquity system. Namely, I'm running a Hollow Earth expedition game called The Lost Treasure of Yamashita, and that's about halfway through, and we're having a blast. And then previously I've also run Quantum Black, and I love that setting a lot. But both of them use the Ubiquity system, and the highlight for me is the style points. I love the idea, even with D&D 5th edition, they give you advantage and disadvantage their concept, and then the DM can award inspiration. And I feel like style points is that concept, except it's much more... it's like a currency. So in the Hollow Earth expedition, you build a die pool based off of your skills and abilities or weapons or whatever it is, and you roll, let's say, 7 or 8 dice in your die pool. You can boost that die pool with style points, and so you usually start a game with 3, and you can spend them and earn them. There's mechanics to regain style points by acting on your character's motivations or flaws, or one of my rules is just, if you make me laugh or do something I think is cool, I'll give you a style point for that. And then you can spend them however you want. So you can boost your character's ability in one specific roll by 3 dice if you want, and that's gonna hopefully get you a lot more success. So style points I love. I think there's a lot of opportunities to try to incorporate that concept into other games, but I haven't seen anything do it as well as the Ubiquity system with Hollow Earth Expedition. Now, I did want to cover 2 other things that I really like about a couple other games, and we haven't talked about them yet, but one of them is Mongoose's Traveler. Now, Traveler RPG, I've never actually played it. I've wanted to play it for a long time. I love space games, or the idea of going out to space. And for Traveler, they have a really interesting character creation process where you basically go through the character's life in sections of years. So whether they're how are they educated? Did they what was their job in one period of life? Were they in the military? Or did they do whatever it is, and you age them up, and as they get older, they get these experiences that are listed down, and then by the time you're actually becoming a traveler in the game, if they're like 30 or 40 years old, they've got all this previous history of you kind of like walked through it with them, and it looks really fun. It's not the type of game I think you can really pull off with doing like a one shot or anything, but I can see it being a really rewarding game to play. So Traveler's character creation is pretty awesome. And then I couldn't not mention the amazing Dungeon Crawl Classics. The first time I played this, it was kind of just like a play test with some people online, and we went through the character funnel, the level 0 character funnel, and you can go on, there's a website, I think it's like Purple Knight or something like that. If you Google it, you can get a quad of 4 level 0 characters that are all randomly generated, and they have these wacky professions from, like, they could be a farmer, or they could be like, I don't know, they've got tons of professions. There's a table in here. Now this game uses a stair-step dice system, so it goes from like a D3 up to a D36 or something, or D20. No, I think it is a D30, but they've got like a D24, 26, D5, and like all these things. So it's a fun system, but the character funnel is that you, and assuming there's 4 players, you have 16 of these level 0 farmers going into a dungeon, and whoever makes it out, usually there's 1 or 4 characters or something that will get out of the funnel, and they level up to level 0, and you can play them as your characters. So that's always been a really fun idea. I've never played Dungeon Crawl Classics as a campaign, but I think it would be pretty fun. This is a very OSR, extremely difficult game, and the magic system is really wild in this one. So that's Dungeon Crawl Classics, and I will sign off now and see you tomorrow. Hello and good morning. It's day 8 of the RPG A Day 2022. The question of today is, who introduced me to RPGs? And for this one, I actually already answered it in a previous question, that it was my dad, and we played the Star Wars role-playing game from Wizards of the Coast, the D20 edition. And then we also played Saga edition a little bit too. But I was wanting to maybe take it a step further, and I was thinking about how can I answer this question interestingly. And a lot of my friends that we play with right now have introduced me to a lot of other RPGs as well. So for an example, like my friend Dieter on our group, he's introduced me to Pathfinder, which is very similar to D&D 3.5, but I had never picked up or learned Pathfinder before, and it was through him I got introduced to Pathfinder, so thank you, Dieter. It's a fun, awesome game to play, especially if you're looking for a bit more crunch to the rules than 5th edition offers. And then I watch a lot of YouTube content for RPGs, and I think it was through kind of a mix of Seth Skorkowski and also Runeslinger, who showed me the Hollow Earth Expedition, and through that gatewayed into the Ubiquity system. And then Adam Hansen ran a first game for me in the Hollow Earth Expedition rule set, or the Ubiquity system rather, and that was awesome. That was one of my first long-term campaigns that I completed. So thank you very much, Adam. That was an awesome game. And then Matt, of course, Matt is about to show us Alien RPG, and that's I'm very excited for. Matt Click, different Matt, but Matt Click from the Absolutely Tabletop role-playing game group. He introduced me to Mecha Hack. He made Mecha Hack, and then through him, the Black Hack, and then through other various YouTubers, I've gotten into all kinds of other RPGs, but those are just a few to name, and I gotta run. So that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow. Good morning, happy Tuesday. It's day 9 of the RPG A Day 2022, and today's question is, what was the second RPG that I bought? Well, the first one would actually be D&D 3.5. That's the one I bought with my own money. And then the second one would actually probably, if I remember correctly, it was straight to 5th edition, which I resisted getting for a long time because I was happy with 3.5, and the 5th edition books was expensive, and eventually I buckled. I was watching the High Rollers D&D show, and that kind of got me sold on the idea and the concept and the simplicity of the 5th edition rule set, as simple as opposed to like 3.5. So I wound up getting the 5th edition books as my second RPG, and funny story, during my collection, I think we got the Player's Handbook, our Dungeon Master's Guide, and Monster Manual, and Christmas was coming up, and I don't remember, maybe I didn't have the core books yet. I might have had like the Player's Handbook, and I was still trying to get the Monster Manual or Dungeon Master's Guide or something like that. So anyways, I made it known to family members, I was interested in D&D, and I would want to be getting the books. And the one that I wanted to get that looked really fun was Tomb of Annihilation. And I think I probably had seen the High Rollers show of Tomb of Annihilation, and that's kind of why I wanted that book, because I was now familiar with kind of the concept, and seeing someone else run it, I thought I could maybe do it too. And so I figured there's no way that anybody's going to know that I want that specific book. I really want like the core 3 rule books or whatever ones I didn't have at the time. And so I wound up like early December, Christmas is the end of December, I bought Tomb of Annihilation on eBay, and Rebecca, my wife, was distraught because she had got me the Tomb of Annihilation book and was keeping it a secret. And of course, I wasn't thinking anybody would actually take me seriously and get me RPG books for Christmas. And if they did, it would probably be something like, the Dungeon Master's Guide or Dice, or, small stuff, not a, $60 RPG book. I think Tomb of Annihilation is probably less, but that's maybe why she got it. I don't know. Anyways, she was so upset that her present was ruined because I went out and bought my own Christmas gift, and I got coal that year for Christmas from her family. It was funny. Anyways, that's a fun story for second RPG I've ever bought, and I will see you tomorrow for day 10. Good morning, it's Adrian, and it's day 10 of the RPG A Day 2022. Today's question is, when did I start GMing, or if I have. Yes, I have started GMing. I think I actually, even before I got D&D, I tried to run the Star Wars game a little bit, probably when I was like 13 or 14. Didn't really do much with that, but when I got the 3.5 basic game, that's when I started to run for my siblings. And so I was the dungeon master pretty much the entire time. I don't think anyone else ever tried to run a D&D game, but I had so much fun drawing maps, making tokens out of like paper plates and just drawing on them, or trying to print out images in like 1-inch squares and turn them into tokens. So that was really fun. And I think overall I do prefer being the dungeon master or game master as opposed to a player. I've had the chance to be a player in a lot of games, and it's definitely fun, especially when you have a fun concept of your character and you get to truly role play them. But I definitely think if I'm the game master, I'm 100% engaged with the game, versus as a player, it's so, I don't want to say that I'm never like not fully engaged, but sometimes you can get distracted if it's if your character's not in the scene, for an example, and you're just kind of being a bystander watching. It can be easy to get distracted, I feel like, sometimes. And then just as the overall aspect of it, instead of running the entire world and having to pay attention to what the players are doing as a game master, if you're a player, you're 25% of the party usually, and so your engagement might be less because of that. So I prefer being the game master. I find it's a huge creative outlet to be able to create the stories, create worlds, create encounters, finding monsters or bad guys for the players to fight, finding challenges to give them. Being a game master is just very rewarding, and I love it.